Right now, as you read these words, light waves are striking your retina, converting into electrical impulses, traveling through neural pathways, and somehow through a process that science cannot fully explain, becoming the experience of meaning in your awareness. But here is the profound truth that will transform everything you believe about reality. The words you think you're seeing don't exist outside of your consciousness. The screen, the room around you, even your own hands, all of it is a construction, a dream woven by the mind from the raw fabric of pure possibility. This isn't philosophy or mysticism. This is the cutting edge of neuroscience meeting the ancient wisdom of the Vedas. Every color you perceive, every sound you hear, every sensation you feel exists nowhere but in the theater of your consciousness. The rose you smell has no fragrance until your olfactory system translates molecular vibrations into the experience of sweetness. The symphony you love produces no music until your auditory cortex transforms pressure waves into melody. You live in a world entirely created by your own awareness, yet you have forgotten that you are the creator. Take a moment now to look around you. Notice how solid everything appears, how convincing this waking dream feels. The walls seem substantial, the floor beneath you stable, your body real and separate from everything else. Yet quantum physics reveals that what you call matter is mostly empty space, atoms dancing in vast voids, held together by invisible forces, existing in probability clouds until the very moment you observe them. The solidity you experience is consciousness interpreting energy patterns, giving form to the formless, creating the illusion of separation where only unity exists. Your brain receives approximately 11 million bits of information every second, yet you consciously process only about 40. This means that 99.999% of reality is filtered out, edited, and discarded before it reaches your awareness. You live in a tiny sliver of possibility, believing it to be the whole truth. But what if you could expand that aperture? What if you could access more of the infinite field of potential that surrounds you always? The mystics knew this. They understood that what we call the physical world is Maya, the play of consciousness, the dance of divine imagination. But they also knew something even more liberating. If you are the dreamer, you can change the dream. If you are the observer creating reality through the very act of observation, then you have access to power beyond anything you've imagined. Breathe with me now. 4 counts in through the nose, hold for 4, release for 6 counts through the mouth. As you breathe, notice that even this simple act reveals the miracle of consciousness. Somewhere in your awareness, you know to breathe without thinking about it. Somewhere deeper, you can choose to breathe consciously. And in the deepest place of all, you can witness yourself breathing, aware of awareness itself. This is the first glimpse behind the veil of the dream. As you deepen this practice of present moment awareness, you begin to notice something remarkable. The person you thought you were, with all their problems, limitations, and stories, was just a character in the dream of consciousness. The real you has always been here, unchanging, unborn, eternal. You begin to see through the elaborate construction you've called my life and recognize it as consciousness playing, exploring, experiencing itself through the temporary form you call your body and mind. This recognition can be initially disorienting. If you're not the person you thought you were, then who are you? If your problems aren't really your problems, then what's real? If the world you see is consciousness dreaming itself into experience, then what matters? These questions dissolve not through answers, but through deeper and deeper recognition of what you are beyond all concepts and categories. You are the awareness in which all experience arises. You are the consciousness that dreams all dreams, including the dream of being a separate self. You are the infinite expressing itself as the finite, the eternal playing in time, the absolute appearing as relative while never ceasing to be absolute. This isn't a belief to adopt, but a reality to recognize, a truth that's been staring you in the face your entire life, hidden only by the assumption that you're something other than what you are. When this recognition stabilizes, the dream of separation doesn't disappear. It becomes lucid. You still function as an individual, but you know you're not separate from the whole. You still experience thoughts and emotions, but you're not identified with them. You still inhabit a body, but you know you're not confined to it. The wave discovers its ocean while continuing to play at being wave. This is the great awakening that's available right now, not as a future attainment, but as a pure, essent recognition. The dream of consciousness is awakening to itself through you, as you, recognizing its own infinite nature in the midst of finite experience. Every moment of suffering becomes an invitation to wake up. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to remember what you are. Every breath becomes a celebration of consciousness knowing itself. What remains when all concepts of self dissolve? What's here when the story of your life falls away? What continues when body, mind, emotions, and thoughts are seen as temporary appearances in awareness? Only this, the pure I am that has never been absent, the aware presence that is your deepest nature, the consciousness that is reading these words right now. This I am is not personal, it's the universal self recognizing itself everywhere. It's the same consciousness that animates every being, the same awareness that witnesses every experience, the same presence that is the source and substance of everything that exists. When you rest as this I am, you discover that you've never been separate from anything or anyone. The boundaries you thought were real were just temporary beliefs held in infinite space. This is the pathless path, the goalless goal, the seeking that ends in the recognition that what you sought was never absent. You don't become enlightened, you recognize that enlightenment is your natural state, temporarily obscured by the clouds of identification with what you are not. You don't attain consciousness, you discover that consciousness is what you are, what you've always been, what you could never not be. In this final recognition, the seeker dissolves into the sought. The dream awakens to the dreamer, and what remains is the simple, obvious truth that was never hidden. You are consciousness itself, temporarily forgetting your infinite nature to enjoy the play of limitation, then remembering again in moments like this. The cosmic game of hide and seek comes full circle, and you rest in the peace of knowing who you truly are. This is not the end, but the beginning. Having tasted your true nature, you can never again completely forget it. The dream of separation may reassert itself, the old patterns may resurface, but something fundamental has shifted. You know the way home because you've recognized that you never left. You know the secret because you've remembered that you are the secret. Consciousness knowing itself through the magnificent play of existence. Test these truths not as beliefs to be adopted, but as possibilities to be explored in the laboratory of your own awareness. Let your life become the experiment, your experience the data, your awakening the ultimate verification. What you discover there, beyond all words and concepts, is what every mystic, sage, and awakened being throughout history has pointed toward. The simple, ever-present reality of what you are when all illusions fall away. Scientists call it the hard problem of consciousness. How does the grey matter in your skull give rise to the felt experience of being you? How does 3 pounds of neural tissue create the rich inner world of thoughts, emotions, sensations, and dreams? The materialist worldview stumbles here, unable to explain how objective matter becomes subjective experience. But perhaps they're asking the wrong question. Perhaps consciousness isn't produced by the brain. Perhaps the brain is produced by consciousness. This isn't merely intellectual speculation. This understanding transforms everything. When you realize that you are not a body having conscious experiences, but consciousness itself temporarily focusing through a body, your entire relationship with life changes. The fears that seem so real begin to lose their grip. The limitations that felt so solid start to dissolve. The healing that seemed impossible becomes natural. Watch your thoughts for a moment. Notice how they arise from nowhere, dance in awareness for a brief time, then dissolve back into the silence from which they came. You are not these thoughts. You are the space in which they appear. You are not the emotions that color your experience. You are the aware presence that witnesses them. You are not even the body you call mine. You are the consciousness that animates it, the life force that breathes it, the awareness that experiences through it. This is not philosophy to be believed, but truth to be recognized. In this very moment, you can step back from identification with the contents of consciousness and rest as consciousness itself. You can discover what the greatest teachers throughout history have pointed toward: your essential nature as the unborn, undying awareness that is the source and ground of all experience. The observer in you has always been here, unchanged by every experience you've ever had. It was present when you were a child, untouched by all the years that have passed. It will be here when the body is no more, for it exists beyond time and form. This observer is not personal. It's the universal consciousness localizing as your individual awareness, like the ocean appearing as a wave while never ceasing to be ocean. Modern physics has stumbled upon this ancient truth through a different door. The quantum field that physicists describe, the invisible realm of pure potential from which all particles emerge, sounds remarkably like what mystics have called the field of consciousness, the source of all manifestation. In quantum mechanics, particles exist in superposition in all possible states simultaneously until an observer collapses the wave function into a specific reality. The very act of observation determines what becomes real. But what is this observer that has such creative power? Consciousness itself. And you are that consciousness, temporarily forgetting your true nature, playing at being separate, dreaming yourself into the experience of being human. Yet even in the depths of this cosmic game of hide and seek, you can wake up, you can remember who you really are. The implications are staggering. If consciousness is fundamental, if it's the ground from which all experience arises, then healing isn't something that happens to you, but something you participate in creating. Every thought, every emotion, every intention ripples through the quantum field of possibility, influencing the very structure of your reality. The peptides flowing through your bloodstream, the neural networks firing in your brain, the genetic expression in your cells, all of it responds to consciousness shaped by the quality of your awareness. This is why prayer works, why meditation heals, why visualization can change biology. You're not manipulating external forces. You're recognizing your role as co-creator in the dream of existence. You're awakening to your true nature as the consciousness that dreams the world into being, moment by moment, breath by breath, thought by thought. Place your hand on your heart now and feel it beating. This rhythm that sustains your life operates beyond your conscious control, yet it responds to your state of awareness. When you're anxious, it quickens. When you're peaceful, it slows. This is the mind-body connection revealing itself as something far more profound than science has yet grasped. the unity of consciousness and creation, the inseparable dance of observer and observed. The quantum field of infinite possibility isn't somewhere else, it's here now, as the very awareness with which you're reading these words. It's the space between thoughts, the silence between heartbeats, the pause between breaths. It's the source from which all healing emerges, all creativity flows, all love expands. And you don't need to reach for it or attain it because you are it. Take 6 conscious breaths now, and with each exhale, let go of the illusion that you are small, limited, separate from the source of life itself. With each inhale, remember your true nature as the infinite awareness dreaming the finite experience, the eternal consciousness playing in time, the one appearing as many while never ceasing to be one. This field of pure potentiality operates beyond the laws of classical physics. Here, thoughts become things. Intentions shape reality. Love reorganizes matter. This isn't magic, it's the way consciousness works when freed from the limiting beliefs that keep it contracted into the illusion of separation. When you align with this field through meditation, through presence, through the practice of witnessing awareness, you begin to live from infinite possibility rather than past conditioning. Scientists now understand that the observer effect extends far beyond the laboratory. Your expectations influence outcomes. Your beliefs shape perception. Your intentions organize events in ways that seem miraculous to the rational mind, but are perfectly natural when understood from the perspective of consciousness as the primary reality. Every moment, you're collapsing infinite possibilities into specific experiences through the quality of your awareness. But to access this power consciously, you must first recognize what you truly are. You must see through the dream of separation, the illusion of being a separate self, struggling in an external world. You must awaken to your true identity as the very consciousness in which all experience arises. The awareness that is reading these words right now, the presence that has never been absent from any moment of your life. The first and most profound illusion to dissolve is the identification with the physical body. Right now, notice how you automatically assume that you are located somewhere behind your eyes, looking out at the world from inside your head. This seems so natural, so obvious that questioning it feels absurd. Yet this simple assumption is the root of all suffering, the foundation of the dream of separation. Your body is magnificent, a temporary crystallization of consciousness, a vehicle for awareness to explore itself through form. But you are not your body any more than you are the car you drive or the clothes you wear. The body appears in your awareness. You do not appear in the body. Every cell, every sensation, every physical process unfolds within the field of your consciousness, witnessed by the timeless observer that you are. Consider this. The atoms that compose your body were forged in the nuclear furnaces of ancient stars. The carbon in your muscles, the calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, all of it has existed for billions of years, cycling through countless forms before temporarily organizing as what you call your body. In 7 years, every atom you currently call yours will have been replaced. Where is the continuity of self in this constant flux of matter? Yet something remains unchanged through all this transformation. The awareness that experiences through this body has never aged, never been born, will never die. It was fully present when you were a child, untouched by decades of physical change. This awareness, as is your true identity, not the changing form, but the unchanging presence that witnesses all change. Place your attention on your breathing now, but this time notice who is aware of the breath. Don't focus on the sensation of breathing. Focus on the awareness that knows the sensation. Step back one level deeper into the witness of the witness. This is the beginning of disidentification with the body, the recognition of yourself as the space in which bodily experience arises. The ancient yogis understood this perfectly. They called the body the food sheath, the outermost layer of identity necessary for functioning in the physical world, but not fundamental to who you are. Beneath this lies the vital sheath of energy, then the mental sheath of thoughts and emotions, then the wisdom sheath of intuitive knowing. But beyond all these sheaths lies your true self, pure consciousness, the witness of all experience, the eternal subject that can never become an object. This isn't spiritual bypassing or denial of the body's importance. The body is sacred precisely because it's the temple of consciousness, the instrument through which awareness expresses itself in form. When you stop identifying as the body and recognize yourself as the consciousness animating it, you can care for it with wisdom rather than attachment, love rather than obsession. Most human suffering stems from the confusion of self and form. When you believe you are the body, aging becomes terrifying, illness feels like personal failure, death appears as ultimate catastrophe. But when you recognize your true nature as the awareness that temporarily inhabits form, these natural processes lose their sting. The body ages, but you don't. The body may become ill, but your essential nature remains pure. The body will eventually die, but you, as consciousness itself, are deathless. This recognition transforms your relationship with every emotion, every sensation, every thought that arises. Instead of being overwhelmed by experience, you become the space in which all experience unfolds. This is true healing, not fixing the contents of consciousness, but recognizing yourself as consciousness itself. Now let's explore the realm of emotions, where this understanding becomes even more practical and transformative. You've been taught to think of emotions as psychological states, mental phenomena that somehow arise from brain chemistry. But emotions are far more fundamental than psychology suggests. They are vibrations of consciousness itself, energy patterns that ripple through the field of awareness, temporarily coloring your experience before dissolving back into the silence from which they emerged. When you feel joy, something in you is literally vibrating at a higher frequency. When you experience fear, your entire energetic system contracts into a lower, denser vibration. These aren't metaphors, they're measurable phenomena. Your heart rate variability changes, your brainwave patterns shift, your immune system responds, your genetic expression alters. Emotions are consciousness in motion, energy in flow, the creative force of life itself expressing through the instrument of your awareness. But here's what transforms everything. You are not your emotions any more than you are your thoughts or your body. You are the awareness in which emotions arise, the space in which they play out their temporary dance, the eternal witness that remains untouched by every feeling that moves through you. This doesn't mean emotions aren't real or important. They're incredibly real and serve essential functions, but they're not you. Watch what happens the next time a strong emotion arises. Instead of immediately identifying with it, I am angry, I am sad, I am afraid. Try stepping back into the observer perspective. Notice, anger is arising in awareness. Sadness is moving through consciousness. Fear is presenting itself for witnessing. This simple shift from being the emotion to witnessing the emotion is the beginning of emotional freedom. Emotions carry information, but they're not facts about reality. They're energy patterns seeking expression, movement, and resolution. When you resist them, they become stuck, creating the very blocks and limitations that generate suffering. When you welcome them without identification, they move through you like weather through the sky, leaving you clear and spacious. Breathe deeply now and scan your body for any areas of tension or emotional holding. Maybe there's tightness in your chest, constriction in your throat, heaviness in your belly. These aren't just physical sensations, they're emotions that have crystallized into the body, energy that has become temporarily stuck. As you breathe into these areas, you're not trying to fix or change anything, you're simply offering your conscious presence, allowing what wants to move, what wants to release. This is how healing happens at the deepest level. Not through force or manipulation, but through conscious presence meeting stuck energy with infinite acceptance. Your awareness is inherently healing because it's the natural state of consciousness, open, spacious, loving, free. When you bring this quality of presence to any emotional state, transformation becomes inevitable. The mystics spoke of this as emotional alchemy, the ability to transform the base metals of reactive emotion into the gold of pure awareness. But this isn't something you do, it's something you allow. Consciousness itself is the alchemical fire that transmutes all experience into wisdom, all pain into compassion, all fear into love. Notice how different emotions vibrate at different frequencies in your body. Gratitude expands the heart space. Love dissolves boundaries. Peace pervades every cell. These aren't just pleasant feelings, they're access points to higher orders of consciousness, doorways into the quantum field of infinite possibility. When you learn to consciously cultivate these elevated emotional states, you're not just feeling better, you're literally reorganizing the energy patterns that create your reality. This brings us to one of the most practical applications of consciousness, your ability to consciously participate in your own evolution. For centuries, science told us we were victims of our genetics, prisoners of our past conditioning, stuck with the brain we were born with. But the revolution in neuroscience has revealed something extraordinary. Your brain is constantly rewiring itself based on where you place your attention, what you repeatedly think about, how you choose to respond to life. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to form new neural connections throughout life, isn't just a clinical phenomenon. It's consciousness displaying its creative power through biology. Every time you choose a loving thought over a fearful one, you're literally rewiring your neural networks toward greater coherence and health. Every time you practice presence instead of getting lost in mental reactivity, you're strengthening the neural pathways of awareness itself. But it goes even deeper than neuroplasticity. The field of epigenetics has revealed that your gene expression, which genes get turned on or off, is profoundly influenced by your consciousness, your emotions, your beliefs, your lifestyle choices. The genes you inherited from your parents are like a piano keyboard, and your consciousness is the pianist determining which keys get played. You're not stuck with a predetermined biological destiny. You're an active participant in your own genetic expression. This is where the observer truly becomes the alchemist. When you recognize that your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs directly influence your biology, you step into conscious creation. The limiting patterns inherited from family, culture, and past experience are not fixed realities. They're habitual programs running in consciousness, and consciousness can always choose differently. Take a moment to consider what beliefs about yourself you've been unconsciously accepting as truth. Maybe you've assumed you're not creative, or bad with money, or destined to struggle with health issues. These aren't facts about who you are, they're stories. Consciousness has been telling itself, programs that have been running automatically. But the moment you recognize them as programs, you can begin to consciously install new software. This is the power of intention meeting attention in the field of infinite possibility. When you clearly intend a new reality and place your sustained attention on that possibility, you begin to collapse the quantum field into new patterns of experience. Your brain starts building new neural networks to support this emerging reality. Your genes begin expressing in ways that align with your conscious choices. Your entire psychophysiological system reorganizes around your clearest intentions. But this isn't positive thinking or wishful manifestation. This is consciousness recognizing its own creative power and wielding it with wisdom and precision. It requires going beyond the surface level of what you want to achieve or acquire, diving into the deeper question of who you choose to be. Because what ye become inevitably determines what you experience. The ancient alchemists weren't really trying to turn lead into gold. They were using metallurgy as a metaphor for the transformation of consciousness, transmuting the base metals of ego identification into the gold of self-realization. This is the alchemy available to you right now, the transformation of unconscious reaction into conscious response, of fear-based living into love-based being, of limitation into infinite possibility. Write down one limiting belief you've been carrying about yourself or your life. Now breathe into the space around that belief and ask, what would be possible if this weren't true? Don't try to convince yourself that it's not true. Simply open to the possibility that it might not be the whole truth. Feel into what would shift in your body, your emotions, your actions if you were free from this limitation. This is how conscious evolution begins, not by forcing change, but by opening to possibility. In this exploration of consciousness and transformation, there's a space that holds the key to all healing, all creativity, all access to the infinite field of possibility. It's not a place you can travel to or a state you can achieve through effort. It's the silence that exists between thoughts, the gap between breaths, the pause between heartbeats. This silence isn't empty. It's pregnant with all potential, alive with pure awareness, vibrating with the creative power that gives birth to everything you experience. Most people are terrified of silence. They fill every moment with noise, distraction, mental chatter, endless doing. But this avoidance of silence is actually avoidance of their own deepest nature. In the silence, you meet yourself as you truly are. Not the story you tell about yourself, not the roles you play, not the problems you think you need to solve. In the silence, you encounter pure being, consciousness without content, awareness without objects. This is where all healing begins. Not in the activity of fixing or changing or improving, but in the profound rest of simply being. When you stop trying to manage your experience and instead rest in the aware presence that you are, something miraculous happens. The body's innate intelligence awakens. The nervous system finds its natural balance. The immune system optimizes itself. The heart settles into coherent rhythms. You don't heal yourself, you allow the healing intelligence of consciousness to work through you. Modern medicine is beginning to understand what mystics have always known. The body heals itself when consciousness is at peace. Stress disrupts every system in the body because stress is really resistance to what is, consciousness fighting against its own experience. But when you rest in the silence of pure awareness, this resistance dissolves. The body remembers its blueprint for perfect health. The mind releases its grip on old patterns. Life force flows freely through every cell. Find that silence now. Don't try to create it or achieve it. Simply notice that it's already here in the space between these words, in the awareness that's reading. G them. Breathe naturally and notice the tiny pause at the end of each exhale before the next breath begins. Rest your attention there in that moment of natural stillness. This is the healing silence, always available, never absent, closer to you than your own heartbeat. In this silence, miracles aren't extraordinary. They're the natural expression of consciousness freed from the limitations of conditioned thinking. Spontaneous healing occurs, creative insights arise, solutions to problems that seemed impossible suddenly become obvious. This isn't because you're doing anything special, it's because you're finally getting out of your own way, allowing the infinite intelligence that creates galaxies and grows flowers to operate through you without interference. The ancient texts speak of this as the peace that passeth understanding, not the temporary peace that comes from getting what you want or avoiding what you don't want, but the eternal peace that is your essential nature. This peace doesn't depend on circumstances. It's the silence from which all experience arises and into which all experience dissolves. When you learn to access this silence regularly through meditation, through conscious breathing, through moments of pure presence, you discover that it's not something you visit occasionally, it's who you are always. This brings us to perhaps the most practical teaching of all, how to live from this recognition in the midst of daily life. The infinite now is not a future state to attain or a peak experience to achieve. It's the ever-present reality underlying every moment, available right now as you read these words, as you breathe, as you exist. The infinite now is consciousness itself, and consciousness is always now. Time as you experience it is a construction of memory and imagination. The past exists only as present moment thoughts about what happened. The future exists only as present moment projections about what might happen. Reality is always this eternal now, this timeless presence in which everything unfolds. When you align with this truth, something extraordinary happens. You stop trying to get somewhere else and start being fully here. You stop postponing life until conditions are perfect and start recognizing perfection in what is. This doesn't mean becoming passive or losing all motivation. It means discovering that the most effective action arises from presence, not from anxiety about the future or regret about the past. When you're fully present, you have access to infinite intelligence, unlimited creativity, spontaneous right action. The solutions you need appear. The resources you require manifest. The people who can help show up. This isn't magic. It's how life works when consciousness is aligned with itself. Notice what happens when you bring your full presence to whatever you're doing right now. If you're reading, really read. If you're breathing, really breathe. If you're sitting, really sit. Feel the aliveness in your body, the awareness in you, a mind, the sense of simply being here, now, alive, conscious. This is enlightenment, not a distant spiritual achievement, but the simple recognition of what's already true. The infinite now is also the space where intentions take form. When you clearly intend something from this place of presence, rather than from anxiety or need, you're working with the creative power of consciousness itself. Your intentions become seeds planted in the fertile field of the present moment, and the universe conspires to help them grow. But you must learn to intend without attachment to specific outcomes, to desire without desperating, to act without forcing. Practice this several times throughout your day. Pause and ask yourself, what am I experiencing right now? Not what happened 5 minutes ago or what needs to happen later, but what is actually here in this moment. Notice the sensations in your body, the quality of your breathing, the nature of your thoughts, the feeling in your heart. This simple practice trains you to live from presence rather than from the stories your mind tells about presence.